welcome back. Now it's time for us to get into politics. It's 5 minutes past 7 a.m. Good morning. My name is Victor, if you're just joining us, and my guest already in studio. Let's talk about politics and what we really need to understand within the country and, of course, outside our borders. Being a Christmas month, and, of course, many people are traveling back home, governance has to continue. That is what is here. Let me take you through the front page of the local dailies very fast before we get to the discussion. On the front page of the Standards is questions abound. Questions abound. That is on the front page of the Standard. Questions abound. This is about the late Cyrus Jirongo, who died over the weekend after a road accident in Karai, Naivasha County, in Naivasha, that is Nakuru County. And now it's just about shadows of doubt, where now from the unsettling calm of the bus driver who explained a fatal crash as casually as the weather, to the early claims that Cyrus Jirongo drove straight into the nose of an oncoming bus. Doubts are now mounting over whether the former Lugari MP died in a simple accident. Friends say that Jirongo had, over time, expressed fears for his safety. Now they are demanding answers about what really happened on the road. In a country where high-profile deaths in road crashes often end in inconclusive investigations, they insist this case cannot be brushed aside as quote-unquote routine. And so former Vihiga Senator, that is George Haniri, asked why he was still out having fun yet. According to him and Kisia, were to have a very important meeting the following morning, only to be told or to be called that he got an accident in Naivasha. They just raised many questions with regards to that. On the front page of the Star newspaper, it's more or less the same thing, okay? But this is a different one. Hotel bookings up as bus firms increase fares. Of course, that was expected. Businesses struggle amidst reduced incomes. And of course, that story about Cyrus Jirongo also taking on the front page. All right. Cyrus Jirongo, police experts now table new theory on what happened. Of course, the wreckage of his vehicle that got into an accident. Still on the front page. Ruto now takes 2027 battle to Rigath's Mount Kenya doorstep. All right. And we've all known that two words in Migori County, Ochilo Bai, that is from his political nemesis, Ayako, now defends Migori record, dismisses Ochilo Bai narrative. Interesting times ahead. Okay. And finally, on the front page of the Daily Nation, quite different, revealed identities of Kenyans in Russia war. Identities of Kenyans in Russia war. 2 weeks ago, the PS was here and said that the government is doing what is possible to make sure that those Kenyans are returned back home. Names of at least 82 Kenyans lured into fighting for Russia in the war with the Ukraine, some dead, others injured, and most desperate for help to flee the war zone, can now be revealed. Their distress is captured in official correspondence between the Kenyan embassy in Moscow and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The story about the scandal of neglect, death, SHA, fraud, now rock mission hospitals, okay? And Wino Odinga now says that ODM must go for the top seat in 2027. And finally, how Jirongo's NSSF scams collapsed post-bank credit. And finally, hurdles in senior schools admissions. That is what is now awaiting the schools reopening come next year. Let me introduce my guest today, Peter Njeru, next to me. He is a political analyst and a commentator as well. Peter, good morning.
Good morning.
Karibu sana. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Karibu.
We are here.
And let's talk Shadrach.
Yeah, morning.
Good to see you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Karibu sana.
Good to see you too. Thank you.
Asante.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Karibu. And next to him is Mwalimu Odoyo Wede, who is a political commentator and analyst as well. not new to Jerusalem.
Good
Karibu
morning,
sana.
my brother.
Karibu sana. And the only lady amongst the gentlemen, the last one.
Good morning. Do I came last? Why did you take the ladies first?
Oh, can I take the reverse?
You just took the reverse already.
Ladies from the last. Dr. Evelyn Ogen is a political analyst, also joining us on set. Thank you so much, gentlemen and lady, for being with us. Let me start with the front page of the Daily Nation, the Standard, and of course, the Star newspaper. Whichever you pick. Let me start with you, Peter. Questions about Kenyans in Russia, hotel bookings, and of course, there's that aspect of fares, and now questions about Jirongo. Go ahead, pick any.
Let's look at the Kenyan in Russia.
Okay.
The Kenyans in Russia.
Yeah, that's the Daily Nation. Go ahead.
The names of the 82 Kenyans that incidentally found themselves at the forefront of the battlefield has been revealed. It is important for Kenyans to know that having these brothers of ours in the battlefield was not part of what the government had decided for them, but a private human resource recruitment organization recruited them for Russia for other assignments. But when they got into Moscow, they realized they were being chauffeured towards the battlefield, and incidentally, and so sadly so, they found themselves at the front line. Out of these, we have lost a number of them.
Yeah.
And those are still in the battlefield. We are trusting they are safe, and probably there needs to be a clear way to evacuate them back home, because all of them, none of them has any military training, and having them at the forefront in a war, in a battle, kind of overexposes them, and does not achieve the objective for which they went out to look for greener pastures. And therefore, this is something that is of great interest, and we should see our country in the forefront trying to support them to come back home, to those that are willing. And of course, I would want to believe that all of them are putting their personal safety first, because it was not in their interest to go and fight. Yeah, so that's what I would take from that. Those are brothers who are out there in Russia fighting.
Yeah. Okay, great. Dr. Any front page of the local dailies?
I would like to add up on the Russia part.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, time to time our country has suffered from these rogue agents, because the cause of these Kenyans going to other countries to look for jobs, it is because of their high joblessness in this country. And then these agents are taking advantage of the situation. And as we speak right now, as you said, there are those ones who are dead. Remember, those are people's fathers. Those are breadwinners of some families that are gone. You know, as we're just discussing it, who are these agents who are perennially doing this type of racket that is, how do you know, in our country alone, we are not able, Kenyans, we are not, according to me, sometimes we are so porous in the sense that we have not fully defended ourselves. How do you go to defend a country like Russia? How possible is that? With their sophistication of weapons. What capacity do these people recruiting these innocent Kenyans to lure them to be shields? You know, in short, they put them at the front. So these Kenyans, their life, this seems not to matter. So as they are killed, the Russians come in after they have killed these ones, so they can able to defend whatever war it is. I find it very scrupulous. I find it uncalled for. If the government can really take seriously about these agents, recruiting these young people or whoever middle age to other countries that are not safe. Look at the girls who go to Middle East. And you know, we complain this year, next year again you'll get more people going, the other year you'll get more people going and dying. Please, it sets up for the government. And then I'd like also to comment about Jirongo, Cyrus.
Exactly.
At first, when the driver explained about what happened, I thought I knew what was going on. later on, when the people he was with were analyzing the sequence of events, I found that, and I can see the police are doing a very good job. They are trying to unravel what really happened, because looks like he had a previous impact before the head-on with the bus. I believe it's something, if it is anything sinister these days, I think we have invested in, not we, the government has invested in cameras. And then Kenyans really want to know what's happening. And then if he already complained his life is in danger, I don't know, I don't want to get into it, but can Kenyans at least know what is going on? And then if you know your life is in danger also out there and you're still breathing, please take it up. And try and check your movements. And so better safe than sorry.
Better safe than sorry.
But may his soul rest in peace. It is so it's so sad that we have lost somebody who was politically very vocal in this country. And I'm sure now that we are heading to a stormy 2027, his input was to mean so much, especially to the people of Western. But now he's gone. So that's what I'll say, and I'll say pole sana to Lugari residents and pole to Kenya.
Of course, the committee led by chair, that is former member of parliament, that is Fred Gumo, they also raised concerns as to, at what point he left where he was and found himself in Naivasha. So we leave that to the investigative agencies to unravel that. So, Walimu.
There's the news of Jirongo's death, and then there's the headline of the Standard. Now that headline is coming from the Standard, I am not surprised, because they are looking at sensationalizing everything that happens in this country and blaming the government on it. That is what the Standard has done since 2024-23 there. Every prominent person who dies in Kenya, questions always abound. So that cannot be news anymore. People will ask questions. They even told us Raila Odinga died in Kenya, Raila Odinga was killed, then ferried to India, then ferried back, when all Kenyans have closed eyes or what happened. Where Jirongo died was a very busy place. By now, we would be having very serious stories of what really happened. The very journalist who writes such headlines can easily walk to where Jirongo died. It was a very busy place. And they can talk to anyone who cares to talk to them and come up with a corroborated story. But to come here and start asking such questions on a newspaper is not helping the people who are yearning for the truth. Let us also remember, men, many of them, there are certain places when we choose to go to, we send away the drivers, we send away the bodyguards, we lie to our friends. So our friends, if we happen to die wherever we have gone, we'll ask very serious questions. Men, we discover where they were when they die. It's already, oh, they were in this hotel, they were in this town, they had traveled that far. That is what happens. It happens to many, many of us. So I think to come and start asking such questions instead of investigating and providing the answer is to sensationalize something that is almost normal for people to die on the road. I also don't advise people, when you cross 60, stop this nonsense of driving yourself all the time. If you can afford, it is not the best thing. I normally scratch the car here and there since I crossed 55, more than I used to do when I was younger. I was reacting faster. I was remembering things better.
Why is that happening to you?
What am I thinking?
It happens to everyone. It's not just me.
What am I thinking is the other way around. When you're older, you're more careful on the road than when you're young.
In that carefulness, when you cross 50, you can walk to go and switch on the TV. Midway, you remember something else, you divert, and that is scientific. So let us just say, let the investigation be done to find out how the accident happened, so that in future we prevent such accidents. But to cast aspersions on certain personalities, start saying, oh, life was in danger. Even me, I feel my life is very much in danger now, and many of you, because you have enemies anyway. You have enemies. Some of them wish you death. The capacity to kill you is what they don't have. So I think let us be fair to the government and everybody else.
Before I go to Wakili, just a clarification, is your life in danger?
Who?
You?
Very much. Actually, I stand poisoned as I sit here. Proceed.
Oh, you have tough enemies.
Very
That
tough.
is that's a serious case.
But I believe everybody has an enemy, Victor.
Yeah.
Yes, people do have.
Poverty is the enemy.
Wakili is next to you. You know what to do. A free advice.
Yeah.
Wakili, a quick one.
Yes, thank you.
Good morning.
Victor.
Yeah.
Good morning. Now, let me begin by first sending my very sincere condolences to the family and the friends of the late CJ,
Yeah.
the Honorable Cyrus Jirongo. I must make some certain disclosures. Jirongo was my client. In fact, the better part of Thursday, before the Jamhuri, I spent with him in the company of Mr. Omari and a few others at Fairview Hotel. We discussed at length about, the very fate of our country, and we had very serious and sincere plans on what we are going to do post the Jamhuri Day celebrations. So we were supposed to meet actually this week. So it's a very sad state of affair that I woke up on Saturday, with the news of his passing. I was a little bit disturbed. I did not know what to believe. Nowadays we are suffering from what is called misinformation.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get news on the media and you are quite taken aback. So you need to verify the information. So I had to get this information from my senior, Mr. Danstan Omari, so that I could verify. And then, of course, joining the family and all this. So this is something that has taken me quite aback as a friend and as a client, as an advocate who was representing Mr. Cyrus Jirongo in some of his dealings. So, well, I know for one, I have lost a client, and I know for sure this country has lost a giant especially in terms of, his political, input in the well-being of the country.
Yeah.
He had so much that he was willing to give for this country. Well, I know when it comes to certain accusations about, his death, accusations meant to tell us that he was probably killed and, all these things. I know that as a country, we are coming from a past where we've been having, these political deaths or assassinations. And some of these assassinations that we have had politically have never been resolved. Till today, we do not even know who killed J.M. Karaoke. Till this minute, we have not even known, as of fact, who killed Robert Ouko. So really, we are coming from a past where certain political leaders or certain politicians have been killed under very mysterious circumstances. I mean, it is not for nothing that you will see Kenyans, write so many things, come up with suspicions and stories meant to answer to some of the queries that we have been experiencing here and there. Then I must also mention, especially when it comes to the headlines on the Nation newspaper, or on the question about some of our Kenyans dying in Russia.
Yeah.
Well, I think even from the sentiments you've heard from some members of the panel here, I think we have gotten into the habit of, speaking so much about the symptoms. We try to cure the symptoms as opposed to curing the disease itself. We have come to the realization, as Dr. would mention, that this year we'll make mention and we'll speak about these things, about agents exporting human labor to other countries. And then next year, we are going to have a surge even in the numbers. So it is a question about treating the disease as opposed to treating the symptoms. I am privy to certain information. I am privy to the fact that the reason why you see some of our ex-soldiers signing up very quickly to certain some of these invitations to go to Russia, because we're even having a live case going on in Kahawa law courts on this issue. Most of them who have signed up have done it voluntarily. And they have done it voluntarily knowing too well of the dangers that lurk. And why would the people sign to a deal knowing that they might probably even turn out dead? It is because once you have left the military, some of them end up, they leave the military early than probably it was even prescribed for certain reasons. So when they leave the military, they leave so under certain desperation. And once they have left the military, they end up suffering from what is called unemployment. And yet these are people who are skilled. So the military itself, the KDF, does not have ways of dealing with the ex-military officials. So because of the desperation that come with you being an ex and you are trained in military, in warfare, then you will find yourself easily signing up to certain deals. You will be easily cajoled. You will be easily cajoled to signing some of these deals, knowing too well that you are going out and you will probably meet your death when you are out in Russia.
Yeah.
But why will you be doing that? You will be doing that because you want to feed your family, you want to combat these hard times that you find in this country. So really, even while we speak about the agents, while we speak about some of the dangers that some of our citizens find out themselves in after signing some of these pacts or deals, it is important that we look at what are the long-term solutions to this. What can the KDF do? When we have these trained personnel, what can we do? How can we engage them? How can we engage them so that once they have left the military, they have somewhere else to go to, as opposed to leaving them out there, hopeless, and yet they know they have certain skills. They'll just go and give them, sign these deals, get themselves into danger, and then we'll be here speaking about all these things.
2 weeks ago, I had a discussion on the same table here with PS. That is Judith Pareno, who is a PS Department for Justice, Human Rights and Constitutional Affairs, and she said that there is a communication between, it's now a government communication.
Yes.
And different departments are taking charge to ensure that Kenyans who are out there come back home. Much as they are not able to trace some of them, but they are doing what is humanly possible to trace them and bring them back home. Whether they signed voluntarily or otherwise, they're in touch with families to return them back home. But she said that's a very delicate balance. Now it's a government-to-government communication as to what is happening, and being in a foreign land, serving the military in a foreign land, then it includes a lot of channel. But let's wait and see what happens. Now, gentlemen and lady, the president is convening a very important meeting this morning at State House with the members of cabinet to approve a 5 trillion shillings budget that is meant to turn around this country from a third world country to a first world country. And the president said yesterday that that journey begins today. Are you beginning with the journey with him, Mwalimu Doyo?
Definitely. If you don't dream it, you'll never achieve it. If you don't start the journey, you'll never get there. If you don't try it, you'll never get it. I think the president has demonstrated to us that he can surpass every other president who has been in this country. Yes, because you see, take for example the Galana Kulalu. This is a project that began very many years ago. Each president comes, talks about it, visits it, nothing happens.
Yeah.
Today, it is a lush green of maize growing here, there, again and again. And that is something that many people thought was never achievable. The president has completed, they almost complete, the Talanta Stadium. That is a very, there's no like no other. So most of these things the president does, people even look at him and wonder if he's dreaming, but they just come and pass, and we see them getting done. The Limuru, the Rironi Mau Summit Road, I saw the other day the opposition was saying, oh, there are no equipment on site. Personally, I went there and the equipment of site, and people are working on that road, and it will be complete. And when such projects are complete, by the time you complete 20, 30 of them, you are in Singapore. People complained very bitterly about affordable housing. Today, we are going to have towns where you are not going to pay private sector 20,000 for a 1 bedroom. You are going to pay the government 5,000 for a 1 bedroom if people have not taken all of them. Because people said, oh, we may not even afford those houses. When there is that large supply, definitely even people who used to live in worse houses for 20,000 will live in better houses for 5,000. That is how you change the lives of our people. You create for them additional income that they can use to do other businesses. You create for them a better life that does not consign them to hospitals again and again. So when you see the president go that route, I think we are changing very many things, including this perennial dependent on borrowed resources. It is borrowed resources that is making this Kenya poor, because we used to pay debt with almost more than half of what we collect from our people. So the moment you have decided to create a sovereign wealth fund that we will be using to build our own roads, our own infrastructure, you remove us from the yoke of debt, and we will not be paying billions in interest to other people. So I think we should be very happy that the president thought that route.
You know, this is a serious conversation, and I want us to have it over a cup of tea. Dr.
Over a cup of tea?
Yes, so which means to take a break.
So we should be expectant. We are expectant of the coffee.
Yes. Let's take a break. It's a 5 trillion cup of coffee.
Then I'll be next.
Very good. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Walimudo is still on air. All right. I'm reminded that the Nakuru-Nairobi highway that you talked about was built in the 1940s.
Yes.
Including the Mai Mahiu.
Yes.
Which was built by the Italian prisoners of war.
Yes.
1940s.
Absolutely.
That you've used that road before.
Not have used that road.
Yes.
That's my middle name when it comes to
yeah.
when I think travel, I think that road.
Exactly.
Now, well, so, I like to
go ahead. So we have got a 5 trillion dream that is presented by the president to turn around the country. Let's dig deeper into this, Dr.
Well, you know, Kenyans, I want to talk about, you know, Kenyans, we have this thing of, you have an MCA, you have a member of parliament, and then you are like, from outside here, even the football, like let's say the cheerers, every time you know what the footballer is supposed to do, you should have kicked this, should have done this, should have, and then you're like, this is the MCA, he should have done that, you know, you are speaking from outside here.
Yes.
Now, I want to be one of those Kenyans on a realistic kind of atmosphere. Now, what is a first world country? A first world country, let us look at the first world countries. Do they suffer joblessness? No. The women and children are very protected. You know, I saw the affordable housing as a white elephant, but it came to be. So I tend to think that, according to me, there is an afterthought. Maybe as Kenyans, we need information clearly. You know, when we are the 5 trillion and the kind of stress level that Kenyans have currently, the Kenyans, it just sets them into a panic mode, sends them to a panic mode, like, what is going to happen this time? Where is this money going to come from? Borrowing, our pockets, how is it going to be? So I think before all these things can be out, maybe you have to address, maybe somebody needs to address the anxiety of Kenyans. They are so afraid. But they are afraid because they do not have information. Let the information be broken down clearly so that we are, you know, when we become a first world, nobody wants to remain in a third world because there are so many problems in a third world like the ones we are facing. First world, they have lesser problems. When we are first world, we're not going to have agents, rogue agents who are exporting our people and they are being killed. We are going to create jobs even for our neighboring, even East African. They are going to come to Kenya because we are a first world, for them to come here, you know, for them to come here and do those jobs. But now I see Kenyans dangerously getting out of the country to go out there and do dangerous jobs for them. So when we talk about Kenya is going to become a first world, I believe we need more information to that.
Yeah.
In terms of addressing the healthcare system, addressing the education system, addressing pertinent issues, the nitty-gritty that makes us, when we get out, what makes you, even people, you know, first world, people will be looking for visa to come to Kenya. See, you arrive at the borders, let's say in East Africa and other countries, even in South Africa, you go when you are getting into the country, is when you are producing your passport to be stamped, a visa to get in. You don't need a prior visa. You just get it and get in. So I don't know whether all these things are in place, especially the level of joblessness. And number two, women and children. There is a lot of GBV, there is so much unaddressed issues that have happened against the women and children. Are they addressed? You see, if all these things we can be told, the level of corruption, all the money we collect, if we are collecting 10,000 shillings, let's say as a tax collection in the country, have the loopholes been sealed? Have they all of them been sealed? So if you are collecting 10,000 shillings, let's say, or 10 million, whatever amount in a month, is all this money known where it is? And then we can be enlightened and be excited about a first world. We can be excited. We don't want to be in the third world. If we were in the first world right now, our people could not be dying in the Middle East. They could not be dying in whatever country they're dying. But do we have this information as Kenyans?
That is a question I'm getting from you, Dr.
Do we have this information?
And when I come to you, Peter, what I'm getting from Dr. is two things. There is lack of proper communication from the government to Wanjiku.
To trickle down.
To trickle down to Wanjiku. And there is also the aspect of trust deficit. She's raised that concern that, yes, you're going to get that money, but does Wanjiku trust the moment I give my money to the government, or from the parastatal, or from the sovereign welfare fund and all that, there is that aspect of trust deficit in communication?
Yeah, I think that's a good line of thought, and that's something that requires our indulgence in view of what my fellow panelists have put in. But let me start by mentioning that in our country today, we seem to have developed two new tribes. One tribe for optimists, another tribe for pessimists. The optimists are saying, yes, we can advance to the first world in the next couple of years. The optimists are saying it is impossible because we are poor. And one of the pessimists are saying it is impossible because the country is poor. It is impossible because of 1, 2, 3. But the longest journey on earth, like Daktari said when we started, begins with that great idea, that great dream, that grand intention that though I am poor, I can own a chopper. And then you start making baby steps day after day, day after day. That's the only way you as an individual can progress. The moment you say, I am poor, I'll die poor, probably tomorrow you'll be wanting to commit suicide. One of the things I like most about the current administration is a reasonable deal of optimism, saying, yes, we have challenges, but we can incrementally, we can build this grand dream, and incrementally, day after day, we can make steps towards progress. And while this is happening, the other tribe of pessimists are telling us it is illegal. Yes, it could be not anchored in all right now, but I think the optimists are daily thinking about how do we re-engineer our laws within what is provided for in the Constitution to be able to accommodate this grand plan that we have for prosperity, for progress, for development of our economy. And this is, to me, it is the way the economy needs to be managed.
Yes.
The other line of thought is about things like corruption. In the history of our country, and I mentioned this on air last time I was here, that we are seeing an intention for our nation to move towards tax management and departing from the concept of tax collection. And this cannot be said better without reflecting on the Finance Bill 2025-2026, where in the history of this country, this current Finance Bill is the only Finance Bill that did not add any tax on our consumption. And therefore, this, without saying, points to a reality that as we look forward, the country cannot look at collecting more taxes. We can only look at managing taxes. Because Wanjiku is going to continue asking for more hospitals, better medical services, better roads, and all that. And therefore, because previously the nation has been focusing on increasing tax,
Yes.
every time they wanted to spend more, they have thought of which taxes do we increase. That has been the history of this country.
Okay.
But now moving forward, we are looking at a financial architecture that focuses more on managing the available tax than collecting more tax. So the optimists are saying, yes, there are challenges, we agree, but we have to look for creative ways to be able to manage those challenges. We have to look at how to manage our tax so that our country can advance. And it can never be better than where we are today. Yes.
Okay, let me just explain what a first world country. It says that it's a country, it originated from the Cold War, that is US and NATO allies. Now generally means a highly developed democratic nation with a capitalist economy, high GDP, modern infrastructure, rule of law, and a high standard of living, reflected by a strong Human Development Index, that is HDI, scores in areas like healthcare, education, and income. Actually, yes.
Thank you, Victor. I mean, to be very honest and very sincere, I would not love to live in a third world country.
None of us would.
Yes. I have traveled a little and I have seen what other countries have done for their people. You know, we have good roads, we have good infrastructure. If you fall ill, you do not necessarily have to die. You know, but in this country, sometimes, from where I'm coming from actually this morning, the road from my house to the main road is a very bad road. This is in Kajiado North constituency. So sometimes I tend to think that because of the bad roads that we have ended up having so many dead people dying because they were not able to get to the hospital in good time.
Yeah.
And these people that have died have actually been so many as opposed to those that have been killed by guns. So this is to mean that bad infrastructure in itself is a danger to the people. Because if you do not have good roads, if you have bad hospitals, if you have a failed educational system or education system, it means your people will end up living a very frustrated life. People will be dying at the age of 40, someone who was supposed to die at the age of 60, and someone who was supposed to help us during those 20 years that you will have lived to help us in servicing a certain loan, or to have helped us in coming up with certain ideas that will have improved the lives of others. So give and take, I will say with humility that I will desire to live in a country where things are working. I agree with my fellow panelists that indeed this current administration has been exuding a lot of optimism in the manner in which they lead. And I know too well that hope should never be lost. I mean, we are here hoping for a better tomorrow.
Yes.
And I think that is why we woke up this morning. We were hoping that our tomorrow will be greater than our yesterday.
Right.
And that is the reason why we wake up every day. So when you want to reflect on, the sovereign wealth fund, which of course has given birth to the National Infrastructure Fund.
Yes.
This to me is not a very bad idea. It is a good idea. I mean, good intentions should be applauded for what they are. But we must be keen, because some of the intentions we've seen from our leaders have taught us over time that they are not well intended. They are not well intended. That informs the reason why we have these checks and balances. We have a lot of hope in our legislature checking the executive.
So you're not those people who suffer from trust deficits.
I mean, you should not blame me for that. You should blame...
He's not alone.
Yes, I'm not alone. In this country, what we've been taught, remember, we are coming from a situation where at the the birth of this administration, we had what was promised as the Hustler Fund. You recall we had the Hustler Fund.
Right.
The Hustler Fund had the very good intentions of uplifting the person that was down to somewhere, I mean, substantial, so that you will live a well-meaning life. Now, that Hustler Fund has been a subject of ridicule because of the mismanagement of that fund. I think it is well within the public knowledge that we have lost up to a tune of about 1 billion shillings. It cannot be accounted. I don't know if this is something that I have the information alone, or this is information that is shared across board. But I know the Hustler Fund had the good intention. But again, we have now come from the Hustler Fund. We are now at the National Infrastructure Fund. The National Infrastructure Fund, because this is something that has been borrowed elsewhere, this is something that is supposed to work like this. Number one, we are supposed to, engineer development in our country, not from funds that we borrow.
Through our own contribution.
Our own contribution, right. Because we've been developing this country from debt. We've been developing this country from increased taxes. So this National Infrastructure Fund is a fund that is meant, number one, to collect money, not from debts and not from increased taxes from the people. So the people are not going to suffer. But where we probably would suffer is this. Remember, we had the Privatization Act of the year 2005 that was repealed this year. So the 13 laws, I think the 8 laws that you had people debate about after the passing of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, one of these laws was the Privatization Act of the year 2025. So this Privatization Act, what it has come to do, or what it has enabled us to do, is what was probably even, what was enabled by the Privatization Act of the year 2005. That we accepted that sometimes we can have public or publicly owned, companies or parastatals, and we agree that this publicly owned organization is not bringing profit to the public. So it becomes, economically viable for the government to trade off by way of selling the public organization to a private body or privatizing. Sorry, I'm Kikuyu, so some of these things escape me. So when we privatize these public bodies, the aim is to ensure that we protect the public so that they get more from this public body. So
which, from your point of view, is about the legal aspect, the backbone that should actually frame this structure fund firmly.
Well, I think, we do not have a dearth of laws. We do not have a scarcity of laws in this country. We have good laws, laws that were passed with the best of intentions. The problem I have is the implementation bits.
Okay.
Because we always have problem with the implementation because of the people who are employed as the watchdogs.
All right.
The watchdog, when it comes to the National Infrastructure Fund, which of course is borrowed from the Sovereign Fund, the Sovereign Wealth Fund, the watchdogs are supposed to be our members of parliament. The problem we have in this country is not even the president. The problem we have in this country is the parliamentarians. The members of our parliament are the biggest problem that this country has ever had, because when they are called upon to check on the excesses of the executive or some of the overreach of the executive, sometimes they sleep on their job or they do not even understand what they're supposed to be doing.
And probably, Victor, if you allow me,
I want you to bring in Mwalimu.
Okay.
First,
Victor, I think even before this conversation, even before having this first world conversation, maybe I would rather, maybe briefly, you got to maybe tell the Kenyans what a first world is. We could be talking about something other people really need some understanding.
Yeah, you already did that, but probably Victor, if you allow me, about...
maybe it's derived where we have strong healthcare, strong education and income. That is Human Development Index. I'll explain that one. But the question I asked, are we there yet? Do we have all that? Doctor, you want to continue?
I just wanted to comment also on the optimism.
Yes.
It's nice to operate from an optimistic level. Always, in any situation, it's nice first don't be pessimistic, because if you are pessimistic, you may not go to the next level of your agenda.
Yes.
But also, being optimistic to a level that looks utopian is also very dangerous. It's like today you wake up, fine, one day I'm going to own an aircraft or something like that, and then you are doing nothing to start owning a bicycle. Are you saying you'll not just wake up and own that aircraft when you are doing nothing to start from a basic or motorbike or a bicycle, you know, overrating, you know, over optimism. Yeah, so that's what I'm like, can we be very careful about this optimism? At what level are you driving your optimistic?
Thank you. Well, somebody is asking here, did Kibaki announce the construction of Thika Highway? We only saw it coming up. As you continue that.
It wasn't announced, but the data was in public, the information was in public. You remember, actually, one of the things I've always spoken about, especially when I hear people complain about the Rironi Mau Summit Road, there are several roads that exit the city, and the main ones are called A roads. The major A road in Kenya that comes on top is the A104, Nairobi to Kisumu. And then there is the one from Mombasa to Nairobi. Then the one that goes north that passes through Thika, Nyeri, Isiolo, and beyond. You note that the major road leaving Nairobi that has been built multiple times is the Thika one. When Kenyatta one was in power, it was the first road ever in Nairobi leaving to be dualled. When Kibaki came back, it was again the first ever expressway in the country. And
Superhighway.
Yeah, superhighway. Nobody made noise about it. And yet, it went to a direction that we can comfortably say without contradiction that it served largely the Mount Kenya community. Today, we are struggling to build the Mau Summit Road that would serve many, many communities to the hinterland of this country. And when you look at the three people who went to court trying to stop that road, they are the people who uses Thika superhighway. Don't all Kenyans deserve good roads? When we were building the expressway, it was the second public-private partnership after the SGR. Nobody complained about the SGR. Nobody complained about the expressway. Yet they were built using the public-private partnerships. Many Kenyans, I dare say 95% of them, have no idea which company helped the government develop the expressway. But when it was announced that we want to use the same public-private partnership to develop the airport, because infrastructure, especially transport systems, are the ones that leads us to the first world fastest. We have had so much noise until the project is likely on hold. The people we normally call pessimists, they are really not pessimists. They are just people jealous of seeing somebody achieve what their brothers and sisters never achieved in the past. The people we call optimists are simply visionaries. The people who want to see things happen. If somebody still doubt whether Kenya can afford to be first world, when will Kenya afford this? There has to be a first step in every journey. There has to be a beginning in every undertaking.
Yeah.
And that is what President William Ruto has decided to do. Even when we say that the Hustler Fund was mismanaged, we must distinguish the Hustler Fund from many other funds. Because the Hustler Fund was a fund going directly into individual pockets. And that billion lost is in the pockets of those individuals. But fortunately, they are Kenyans and they have spent the money in Kenya, and wherever they have spent it, probably the government has recollected the money as tax back. So there is no serious loss when individuals living within Kenya actually have money in their pockets. We have had corruption also create jobs.
Okay.
There are people who are very corrupt, but when they invested that money well around, many jobs were created and the government collected the money back.
I hope that is not a direct campaign to
I'm not, no, I'm just using that to explain the Hustler Fund. Not really.
That money
Just a
shared is
disclaimer.
not corrupt. That money shared is okay.
Actually, there was a very senior citizen in this country who once told me, as much as we are fighting very hard to eliminate corruption, it is good to eliminate it in the same speed which it came in. But if there were to be a switch, that you walk there and switch off, there's no corruption, I can tell you the economy will collapse.
Okay, let's bring it, Peter.
Yeah, so I wanted to end into that conversation about the infrastructure fund because the key area of concern my panelists were raising was about the source of the 5 trillion. And it is already in the public domain that the source of that will be, part of it will be privatization of public enterprises. And I want to inform the country and the world that governments that are progressive are not in the business of doing business. Governments only create environment conducive for investment and businesses to thrive. And that can never be done better than by infrastructural development. Make sure connectivity, inter-country, intercontinental, they are good, so that investment, foreign direct investment can be attracted. Local investors can also dive in, so that with those investments and with good infrastructure, road network, education system, health system, schools, airports, businesses can come in, private investment can come in, the economy can be capitalist largely, and the government can do less and less of business. The government will do business for a few reasons. One of them is to stabilize the market. When private investors are not attracted into the economy because of poor services, poor power availability and all that, poor road network, you find that in areas that are remote, the government will tend to go and do some investment there to meet the basic needs of the people living there, create some jobs. And in many occasions, you find that these government-owned enterprises are loss-making. And therefore, because our economy is gravitating in the right direction, it is the ideal time for the government right now to start making decisions to offload some of its ownership in some public enterprises so that they can be managed on a competitive platform where market forces are dictating prices and where profit can be the driving factor. And then the proceeds of that privatization can be invested in infrastructure fund so that the country can take off in the area of having better infrastructural system. And therefore, the question that where will the fund come from, to me, it is clear where the fund will come from. The question that is it okay for the government to privatize its enterprises, it is the right time to do that. And so the questions being answered are already answered by the document that really presents the infrastructure fund to the public.
Let's take a break and we'll come back. I want us to talk about two questions here. The aspect of Vision 2030, we are in 2025, crossing over 2026. The Vision 2030 is here with us. Have we hit the mark? That's the first question. The second question is that the countries, the ancient tigers that we're trying to emulate, how long did it take them to get to hit or to break the glass ceiling, where now we can say that, you know, we are at par at some point, and now, where are we? Those are the questions I want us to answer when we come back after this break. Stay with us.
Why are you experimenting with people's health?
Sasa hizi mambo gani ule matupe ananiweka?
Wewe mwenyewe ndio alisema kila mtu mahali huko akuwe mbunifu.
Kwani hata leo umepika?
Sasa hii mbulu inaenda.
Utajua kula utaipeleka.
Na kama
Mugaka. Zindaona hata mezenji.
Be patient.
Ati nikuwe mungondo mugaka we.
Kasi yako nagua hapa ama nagua kule.
Wewe usijichoche Mungu amekabili rungu yako wewe. Ningekuwa nimekuzima kitambo sana.
Hi Pip.
You're not my type.
Pandangasi anashukanga. Wow, Kasto umefika kumbe.
A gentleman afai kukula na koti.
Ni hapa tufanyangi hizo ni games.
Nenda mbele siagwa.
Someone once told me that Mountain Kilimanjaro is the house of God, and the gods sent us 8 doctors to keep all of us safe.
Dr. Ma.
If he gets fired from AfroAid, will his reputation be
No, it won't. He'll go back to his original post.
Lemon's sister's getting married. I'm on my way to her wedding.
All right.
Give the invitation, right?
Manka and Masanja gave it to him personally.
I haven't seen him.
Bajaji imeharibika. Nendeni wenyewe kwenye harusi. Tembeeni kilomita 2.
Yes, welcome back now to the final tail end of this discussion. Dr. Let me ask you, the question of transparency, that is number one. The question of time, that Wakili has asked a question here, that we have resources, yes, there's no problem, there's no doubt about that. If you have human resource, we actually have brain drain, you know, exporting human labor to other countries, so which means we have the power to do that. But now what is stopping us?
We have power and the capacity. You know, you can have power and no capacity. We have power and capacity. Let me tell you, Kenyans have gone to school. Kenyans have gone to school. You go to these, let's say, security firms, you see these graduates, they're the ones who are holding. Never see a soldier umdarau. These people have gone to school, there are no jobs in this country. You know, and it's so alarming. And what I'm saying, the taxes, the money collected as tax. Let's begin there. You know, it's like, it's so porous. According to me, corruption has to be dealt with. If there's any commission that can be formed, is to address corruption. You see, you cannot be collecting so much money, and we cannot say that per se it is up to the president. It is up to every Kenyan. Because naturally, there's a way we are wired, you know, like our electoral system of 5 years. We know we are wired, soko ni amda. You know, when you are somewhere, na soko ni amda, you know, you are elected as a member of parliament today, even as a president. Just our electoral process gives you 5 years to be an MCA, to be a member of parliament, to be senator, to be governor, to be president. Are you seeing? That in itself, it is a contribution factor of the corruption in this country. Because I'm not sure whether I'm going to be back here for me to have these genuine policies, for me to vote for my people, for me to fight Wanjiku on the ground. You know, there's the time factor that I'm working against what I got to do, because I am not sure whether I'm going to go back after these 5 years. So that also is a contributory factor to the level of corruption in this country. Okay. Corruption did not start with the president, the current president, Dr. William Ruto. It didn't start. It's a perennial it's a historical problem that is at the center stage. That I'm not trying to defend him or to be against him or to defend him or to do whatever thing I want to do, but I want to be very realistic in my conversation. Corruption in Kenya did not begin with William Ruto. And I do not want to say it's going to end with him. But all as Kenyans, we have that duty of clearly and openly saying what is our problem. Our problem, main problem, is corruption. When you get into power, it is our time to eat. Let's talk about now the gender disparity in this country. Discussions have been made. The 1/3, 2/3 gender rule has been discussed. Whoever is discussing this is the male. And then it has never seen light. Women continue to be oppressed in terms of representation. Are there enough women to defend other women? The level of GBV in this country is very high. Have we put policies in place directly to inject the problem of the oppression of women in this country and the children, the rapists? Can we have, like, you know, another day I was having a discussion and then I'm saying, can we have special jails for rapists? Castrating them can never be the answer. Rapists. Can we defend the woman with the effort in the developed countries, in the first world countries? A woman and a child is protected. And when a woman and a child is protected in any nation, that nation is developed.
Okay.
You will not call it developing.
Daktari, men are
We
also
have
being
all
raped
that
by
in
women.
Men, very few.
Are being
those
raped
ones-
by women.
Men who are being oppressed right now, they are the ones.
But
mostly the economy is very
there are
bad.
very few. Is it,
you
is
know,
it,
a broke
is it,
man
Daktari,
managing a broke
is
man.
it in the numbers? Is it in the numbers or the act itself?
Which numbers? The numbers
When you
for?
say that there are very few, it's not in the numbers. An act is an act.
No,
A law is
an
broken.
act is an act, but
Fine.
who is passing it?
Allow me to do this. There's something
we need protection, Victor.
Yeah, we are.
As women, not we, you, us, me, us, women.
I think this idea of women being oppressed is being taken, the joke is being taken too far.
Yeah.
It's not a joke.
There are special seats for women in this country, 47 of them. In the counties, if a county elects only men, all the nominations are women. Yet the women have never come up with a way of ensuring the girl child who is coming up will one day compete at par with the boy child. They are enjoying those seats that they have gotten for free. Parliament is open for all women to introduce any bill they want. There are very women lawyers in this National Assembly. None of them has come with a bill to operationalize.
But who support it?
Well, just wait. None of them has ever come with a bill to operationalize the two-thirds gender rule. They are happy to be there using the nomination through 47 seats of women reps. They are happy. In fact, you find there is a woman in Parliament who is on her third term as a women representative. Yet this seat was created to empower the woman so that she can compete at par with the men. We should have them there 1 year, another one comes in. I have seen a few of them. Take, for example, Gladys Wanga. Gladys Wanga went for women rep two terms and went and beat men. That is the person you should emulate.
You see, women go beat men. You know, it's just
the issue of gender issues. Gender issues, Victor.
No,
yeah, because you're saying that the women are being oppressed. Who is oppressing them?
That's too judgmental.
We are now moving on from the debate.
No, that's too judgmental, though.
Just allow me to make some clarification.
I knew.
You know when we debate about gender, people tend to think that gender means women. Gender is both men and women. So the two-third gender rule in the law is supposed to help us so that if we get to a time when women have been uplifted so much that the boy child now is suffering, then that two-third gender rule will now be permitting men to be appointed in these special seats that we are now reserving for women. So when we speak about two-third gender rule, women tend to think that gender is women.
No,
there's nobody thinking.
By the time I'm talking about gender, I have very clear knowledge of what I'm talking about.
To add on that
when I talk about
gender,
I am very clear that a woman needs representation, and it will not go through parliament because three-quarters of them, they are men. It will not go through. It can come also through an executive order because women will not go together. You see, even here, the way we speak here, you are saying a man, a woman. You know the way you are referring to us.
An executive order to do what?
For a woman representation, because if it's going to go through parliament, the three-quarters are men. The three-quarters in parliament, who's passing this?
Into the voters are women. Why don't they vote one of their own?
Who?
The voters are more women.
What do you do to women who look for
nothing?
Even these women who are let's say governors. I wish you can have a sitting with women who have been elected as governors. What do they go through? If a woman is not attached to some man who is influential to tell them these people, to convince them, you know, you have to convince people that a woman can lead. If you do not have this man, even these women rep seats, if some man does not believe, some powerful, politically connected man does not say, yes, she can lead, trust you me. Kwanza, even this seat, even men, we should be seeing them standing. If at all it is not very specific, it's for affirmative action. You should only see men wanting this seat, even for women reps. Victor, we are oppressed in this country. We are oppressed as women, and we need our voice. We need to be heard, not through fighting. We want a collaborative kind of conversation. Like, fine, I can be governor. I can be, don't come here and ask me, oh, you don't have children, you are not married, oh, culturally, you know, are we going to take our seats? Like, seriously, we need to change from that narrative.
Gentlemen,
women need space.
I kept quite intentional. Yes. I kept quite intentional.
I also did.
I didn't want to interfere in that conversation.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It is ventilated.
Yes, because we are gentlemen, right?
Yes. But no, it's because you understand your biasness.
You are making a good point. I mean, that's true. I mean, two-thirds gender rule It's still a hard nut to crack in this country.
It has never been achieved.
Yeah. Okay, I want us to finalize this. Gentlemen and lady, I don't know how to finish because now you've derailed my thought. Now, the last one is the president is having that meeting today at State House. The quick one, the legal backing, in 1 minute because we are now running out of time. The legal backing that the president should deploy to safeguard this, because somebody somewhere is probably drafting a court order going to court this morning or even the following morning. But what are some of the legal backbone that the executive should take care of?
Well, initially, I think sometime in the month of November, when the president was addressing the nation in parliament, there was mention that there was the sovereign wealth fund bill had been passed into law. And this fund, or this sovereign wealth fund bill, is the one that now gave birth to this national infrastructure fund.
Yes.
So we have not seen it. Even in the Kenya law reports, we have not seen now the final blueprint of the Sovereign Wealth Fund Act now. It has not been seen. So as we speak, we, and I say this with a lot of humility, we do not know where this National Infrastructure Fund is coming from, or where it's, you know, we do not know its statutory foundation. So if you do not have a statutory foundation, then it means that the government will be acting without any legal premise. This will be a declaration, as my Daktari will say, that it's an executive, probably someone will say it's an executive order, that we have this infrastructure to help us in collecting funds. So we need to have some certain level of openness. I have mentioned before that when it comes to public finance, the Constitution, particularly if you read Article 201 and thereabout, we have principles of public finance, that when it comes to matters about our money, because it is our money collectively as a country, there needs to be some level of openness. There needs to be some level of accountability. We need also to have some probity when it comes to the use of natural resources or our finances, so that the country does not get into a point where we do not understand how this idea has been born. Again, I must mention, and this is what is very fundamental, especially when you want to look at the current constitutional dispensation, is the question about public participation. Public participation has been the cornerstone of everything that we are doing. In fact, the biggest change, or the introduction in the current Privatization Act of the year 2025, as opposed to the retired one of the year 2005, is the inclusivity of the people in making decisions as to what should be privatized. And again, when the public has been involved, it now rests solely on the members of parliament to decide.
Who you call the watchdog.
The watchdog. Yeah. So really, when I want to call a bluff on whoever is taking Kenyans for a ride, I don't even look at the president, personally, because we are looking at the Montesquieu school of thought, where we have a checks and balance, because any human being, even if it was you, Victor, if we gave you the opportunity of being the president of this country, you will probably even be worse. But now, if we have a good, no, I'm just making mention, human beings, you know, if you want to know a man, you give him power. So if you give a man power, they tend to, you know, to be very adventurous. Yeah. So you will probably be even more adventurous than the current administration. I will probably even be worse. But because we have a good system of check and balance that has been proposed in our current constitutional dispensation, then the aim is to ensure that even when the president tends to overreach sometimes, because he might even sometimes be overambitious, he is called to order by the members of parliament. Yeah. If we have some reasons to doubt as to the authenticity of this national infrastructure fund, then the parliamentarians will be calling upon the minister in charge of the treasury, the Honorable Mbadi, to come and explain, so that the Kenyans, you know, Daktari has mentioned that some of us are suffering from lack of understanding of what is happening. So many Kenyans do not even know where this money is going to come from. Some of them think that, some kati taongezwa bei. That is what some of us are even thinking. Or told. Because we have even an opposition that sometimes is not very truthful. So, because the Kenyan man, the common man, is lost in the midst of the noise. The president is speaking on this other end, the opposition is saying that other end. Now, the common man, tunasemanga nyasi umia, does not even know who to trust and who to believe. So, from where I'm coming from, my area member of parliament has not been doing a very good job in terms of explaining to the people, letting people know the kind of laws that are being passed. So what our area member of parliament has been doing is going around the whole country, saying one term. That 1 term, 2 term does not help us, at least currently. So what is going to help us currently as a people is ensuring those people who are given the job, they do their job. Any member of parliament, and this is the task I'm going to task every Kenyan, wherever they are, put to task your member of parliament. When the member of parliament is pointing a finger at the president or pointing a finger at a minister, ask the member of parliament, because you are pointing one finger, the other 4 fingers, who are they pointing at? What is your responsibility? What is your responsibility in the shortcomings that we are facing as a country?
That's a good question.
Because we cannot be having members of parliament who always claim that it is the president, and yet they are the people who've given the responsibility of checking him, and yet they come and complain and cry the same way the people are crying.
Thank you. Even the good book says that my people will perish because of lack of knowledge. So we need to get that knowledge as where this man is going to come from and how it's going to work. You agree with me, Mwalimu?
Yeah, you know, Kenya has become a nation of injunctions, especially after President William Ruto was sworn in. To an extent that we injunct the health deal between Kenya and the US on the flimsy reason of data privacy. As we sit all here, we have filled forms that go international with all our data, including blood group, name of our mothers and everything. And we never complain. We have bought things online with our credit cards. When we go to fill visa forms, we give every data without knowing in whose custody it is going to be. What data about this Kenyan is it that they do not want to go abroad? The Kenyan individual. And this is what people are talking about using to injunct. And the courts have also become an accomplice in this activism in injunctions. Everything that goes before them against the government, they will grant it. So I think we need to be honest. There are many things that I've done before. We have released data to foreign companies before. Even the Safaricom, it is largely foreign owned, but we release all the data. How many Kenyans are on M-Pesa? They are all there. ID numbers, male or female, age, and everything. So what is this data that we don't want Americans to see?
Do we have hope?
Sorry?
Do we have hope as a country?
We do. We do. In fact, we will go very far. You see, Kibaki came up with the Vision 2030. Nobody even complained. Nobody even thought it was ambitious. And it is the same thing President William Ruto is trying to complete. And now people are making noise. It is simply what I said before, that the people who are pessimists are not really pessimists. They are jealous people who don't want to see somebody else achieve what they never achieved in their own time.
Thank you. Dr.
Well, I was supposed to finish up or comment?
Yeah. That's your closing remark. I like the way you put it.
I just wanted to be clear. Me, I would say, I really love today's discussion, but on this, it doesn't mean pessimism, optimistic. There's a way you can overrate these 2 terms. If at the end of the day, we all want to move as a country, we want to go to a first world as a country and enjoy the goodies of our first world country. Let us not move to the first world country with gaps, what can I say? With dots of a third world country. You know, the way you can move from a ghetto environment, you go to a high-end area, but all your mind and activities, they are on this other side. So if you are moving to your mansion, let us all move to the mansion, understanding a mansion is different than a ghetto. I want to give that world a ghetto kind of way, and this other on a mansion. When we want to move from this ghetto environment, and then we want to move to the mansion, let us be in position to enjoy what a person who stays in a mansion enjoys. Not that we are partly depending on the ghetto way, and then as we stay in the mansion. That's what I would say. And this is, I would say, it's a very welcome idea, despite the uncertainties, but anything that begins as a teething problem. I thought the affordable housing could be a white elephant, but it has come to pass. So I really don't want to be too pessimistic or too optimistic for this. My eyes are open. I can be able to read. So I'm looking forward to getting more information and moving towards the first world, accepting everything else.
All right, Peter, tumalizia in 30 seconds.
Yeah, thank you very much. As we conclude, judicial activism is something that must be stopped so that the country can move forward. Number two, the mountain is blowing, is burning. The mountain is on fire. There is agitation of east versus the west, because there is a feeling that the west does not appreciate when the east is in the kitchen. And therefore, I would encourage the west to really not accept to divide the mountain by supporting the east when it is their turn. Thank you.
Okay. Peter, umetoa hiyo wapi sasa?
Amefungua bandora.
Listen to Ruku.
He has opened another topic. It's like we never talked.
You know, some assumptions have been cast on the judiciary.
Yes.
I mean, I work at the judiciary as an advocate, so I help people in brokering justice so that they can get their justice. I mean, after all is said and done, let us just allow institutions to do their work.
Yes.
Sometimes it might not make us happy, but at the very least, when the other side has been heard, the court is going to balance the scales of justice. So I know the judiciary has been accused of giving injunctions.
Yeah.
When it is deserving, the court has the power and the discretion of giving injunctions.
Okay.
But when the other side has been heard, as we saw with the recruitment of the police, at some point there was an injunction that was given. And then when the other side was heard, the injunction was lifted. So what we need to do is, let us just allow the systems to work so that we can always check each other.
No, that delay was unnecessary.
That's
like injuncting the health system. It's very unnecessary.
Yeah. Okay.
There are reasons. If they have been advanced, there is a prima facie case that has been made. Someone has made their own case.
All right.
So they need to be assisted.
I knew where this was coming from. But I need to thank all of you, ladies and gentlemen. I knew where this was coming from. And Shadrach was not going to leave that one to go and respond to. Shadrach Omboy, who's an advocate of the High Court, thank you so much for being a part of the show the whole year. Asante sana. And Odoyo Wide Mwalimu, asante sana. He's a political commentator. You can also follow him on social media. He's all over there speaking his mind as a senior citizen. Thank you so much for always being a part of the show all year round. Daktari, asante sana. Evelyn Ogendo, we wish you all the best. I know where your focus is. I know. Asante sana. I'm not going to say it here. It is not my work to do that. It's not my work to do that.
I know, but you can take it up. I have no problem. Pro bono though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Peter Njeru, asante sana.
Thank you.
That's where we wrap it up. This is our last show with me until next year. I wish you Merry Christmas and a good year coming 2026. May God bless all of you.
Amen.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas to you and the Kenyans.
Merry Christmas.
All right, so let's take a break. When we come back, going to Western Spectrum, Wycliffe